This is Leadership in Action, and I'm Casey Cheshire. Join me as we delve deep into the passions, expertise, and experiences of Boston area innovators. Sponsored by the Boston chapter of the Entrepreneurs Organization. This is Leadership in Action. We are cranking. Man, I'm excited for this one. I can't wait to introduce you all to today's guest. He is an entrepreneur, a businessman, an industry leader in IT, both in business and in the service, as he is an Air Force veteran. Actually won an award recently, the SBA 2020 Minority Owned Small Business of the Year for Massachusetts. Hell yeah. President at ClearTech Group, Tony Fields. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Casey. Great to be here, and thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, right on. Just put that on record, right? Have it autoplay every morning.
I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen. So good. Well, man, let's get to this. So
absolutely.
I want to pass you the baton here and ask you this question the way we start every show, which is, what is a common misconception about leadership or being an entrepreneur?
So one of the myths I'd love to smash today and have a conversation about is about delegation. How delegation is black and white. You just assign responsibilities and authority. And the myth about that I want to smash is that it's not black and white. There's levels to it. I actually stole this from a book from Ari Meisel. It's The Replaceable Founder, the 6 Levels of Delegation. And it's one of the things that, I've been going through with my business, and I'm trying to, start to work on tasks, make things simple. And the levels, the first level out of the 6 is called just do.
Well, hold on before we even get to levels, because this is exciting, because we've actually on other shows we talked about how, hey, delegation is important. We've kind of talked it. You got to do it. We've talked in some previous shows with Matt. Shout out to Matt. We talked about how you got to build up the courage to do it. But I love that we're going in here now with, it's not just a matter of like saying you're going to do it. You need to have a kind of system to it.
Absolutely.
What happens when you don't have a system? What happens without the levels?
Well, that's the one thing I struggle with. I'm on the other side of it. I'm the prototypical the lazy entrepreneur. I want to make things repeatable. I want to do it. And what I didn't think too much through with these levels was that I would just say, hey, here's a task. We need to get it done. Let's go. And then, as a leader, I would just let it either happen or whatever. I was just trying to hand it off. And didn't realize that I had an opportunity to break down the levels that I'm going to talk about so that I could be more clear with my team. And those levels have been huge for me as I started to realize that.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of the military. I know we both share that background where it's like, hey, you go do that. You're like, yeah, Roger.
Exactly.
And then you probably have questions, but you're like, I probably should have asked that question, but I already said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. And I went off, and now I have to figure this thing out. And I don't know if I should bug the person or not. And at least in the Air Force, maybe everyone's happy, but you don't really want to bug a gunnery sergeant,
Right. Exactly.
And often the prank was go tell the new guy to ask the gunny, go ask the gunny for the Humvee key, that doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Or the ID10T form, right? The idiot form. He does not want to be bugged, and you're probably going to get blown up for just interrupting him. So there would have been great to have some structure to understanding what kind of follow-up do you want from me? How much do you want me to over report back? And then you're stuck either looking like you don't care as an employee, as a team member, or you're looking like you're like the over communicator. Like, okay, man, I get it. You got this. Stop bothering me.
Exactly. And that's, in my experience as well, is that, you had that as the receiver of the delegation, you got that anxiety of, what do they really want? What's the result? And then you just go either do your best and then, deal with the punishment later if you don't do it right,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's not efficient at all, right?
No, not at all. Exactly. And so I learned my lesson in this, the hard way, where it's just handing off things and then expecting people to really understand what I was trying to hand off.
Yeah, like read my mind and come back when this thing is complete. I don't even know what complete looks like, let alone, okay. So what are these levels? Tell me about what you learned.
Absolutely. About. So the first level really is do as I say. You basically come up as a leader and you say, this is exactly what I need. Just like, go buy me a go buy me a collared shirt at Amazon, and very simple, boom, 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 click, done. So it's just do as I say. So that's level one. Then there's level two, which is look into this for me. This is really where you're delegating it to the person, and you want something that you may not know much about. So like somebody mentions this great CRM, and I just heard somebody talk about it. So now I want to delegate to somebody, hey, look into this for me. Now, when it comes down to that, that's just a Google search. They bring it to me so that I don't have to do the search, but bring me the information and I'll make a decision. Then there's level three. So level two is, level one, do as I say. Level two, look into this for me. And then level three is dig in, find some things with your advice, and then bring them to me. And then I'll decide. So that's more, hey, give me some options. So there's a great CRM I heard about, research that, but then give me two other options that you can bring to me, so then I can make a good decision with those. So now they're digging in a little deeper and bringing me the best CRMs out there. So they're doing a little bit more. So that's level three.
It's almost like they're filtering it a little bit, right? They're
exactly
not just here's a data download of everything I found. It's like, okay, take that data download and parse it out for me. From all that research, what are you seeing? Yeah,
exactly. It gave me three options. If I break that down, it gives, that's the advice. They're bringing the three options based on what I've asked for. But ultimately, I'm still making the decision.
Right.
So then that brings us to level four, which is, hey, explore, decide, but check back with me prior to clicking submit. So that's basically them now getting, the authority to find the best option. But before they commit, they come back to me so that I can make the decision or just give them a thumbs up. So that's delegation, but still there's a little bit of, oversight and a little more of a check back with me.
Right. Maybe before you're, putting a down payment on that data.com list or something that's going to cost you 10 grand and you're locked in for the year.
Yep.
Let's just make sure we're good first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the level five is you give them limits. So it's basically the same thing as level four, but I say explore, decide, and I'm going to give you a limit that if it's under $100, make the decision. And I don't want to hear about it because I trust, $100 and things like that. So it gives them more authority to make the decision. But if it goes over $100, hey, then bring it up to me and we'll take a look at it. So that's level five.
Kind of feels like doing like a market call or the market, not a market order, but like a buy this stock at this price between this and this.
Exactly.
If it fits that, just put the freaking order in, man. I don't care. But but if it doesn't, come back,
Exactly. And then the final level is the big one. And it's when you develop that ultimate trust, you just say, just get it done. And so that level right there is the ultimate, hoping you get, the right-hand person that you can just totally trust and just say, get it done. And that's where, as an entrepreneur for myself, I'd love to be at that point where, there's some decisions that can be taken care of and delegated. But
are there any parameters for that one? I mean, no
parameters. No, limits, this is, I hired you for a reason, right? And so that's where you basically do that,
Yeah.
So just to recap real quick, it goes up from a level of trust, which I love. It's just basically do as I say. Number two is look into it for me. Number three is give me your advice, but I'll decide. Number four, explore, decide, check back to me before you submit. Number five is explore, decide within the limits, and you can, bring it to me if it's above this limit. And finally, just get it done. And those levels for me have been so key with communicating with somebody, trying to think in terms of what level do I want this delegation to happen, and that team member can get more of a results-driven action based on exactly what I'm looking for from a delegation standpoint. So that's, the myth I hope I smashed was that delegation is not just black and white, just do as I say, or just get it done. There's more, levels to it, and you can enhance your communication with your delegees, or is that a word?
Delegates, it is now, man.
Delegees. All right, put it in.
The Leadership in Action podcast. We decide what is and
I love it.
on the podcast. You know what? You mentioned, the black and white thing, on or off, like Boolean is the light switch on, light switch off for delegation. I would even say it's even one step further, where sometimes people are thinking, I'm either going to do it or not do it. They're not even thinking level 1, level 6, but you're right. Sometimes it may call for level 1, it may call for level 3. And I think you're right. When people are making it so basic as to either I'm delegating or I'm not, that's when you get into trouble. And, you delegate once and it doesn't work out because maybe you wanted them to check back in and they didn't, or they keep checking in and you don't want them to. You're like, this sucks. I'm going to stop delegating. It's like, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't let that phase you. You need the steps here, the levels.
Exactly. And then I think it's helped with like I said, my communication style, because there's days where I do want a level 3, but if I act like I just want a level 6, then it becomes more anxiety driven, team member, and you're not really bringing you the result that you want. So I just thought this was a great little key to smash the myth of black and white delegation, because as entrepreneurs, we hear this constantly: delegate, delegate, delegate. You need to turn, and understanding these levels, I think, helps with communication.
Yeah. And, as you mentioned, the trust grows as you go through those. But I think also the need for expertise and need for thinking grows from that person who's receiving the delegation. And I remember working with some folks who maybe started out as an admin, right? Or someone who was just used to, in their previous jobs, just doing level 1s. Got it, level 1. And I was trying to coach them on their career, saying, look, at that lowest level, yeah, maybe most of the things you're receiving were level 1 from your bosses, but I'd like to see you grow. And, almost without thinking, I'm going to default to, level 3. Come back with some options and tell me if you have an opinion. I think sometimes the junior folks are told, you shouldn't have an opinion, but I think really everyone should have an opinion. And so creating a culture of people coming up with an opinion is great, because eventually people pay you more and more and more for your opinion,
Absolutely.
and as a member of the team, if you can come with an opinion, that's fantastic. But you're right. Sometimes it's just like, get that freaking thing done. So L1, yeah. I know there's better things, but I don't want to know right now, just freaking level 1. But other times when there's time, yeah, by all means, tell me what's out there, explore.
Right. Exactly. And I think it's an opportunity for personal development with your team as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine, as the boss, especially if you logged or somehow were able to see the L's of the different requests you've put out there. If you could see, I'm in my mind, I'm picturing them and I'm seeing a bunch of L1s. And then me as a leader, I'm going to be able to kind of look at myself and say, okay, I'm doing a lot of L1s. What can I do myself to start maybe asking for a couple L2s or 3s and that kind
exactly. Of thing. And I love it. And they put it into a system.
Yeah. How do you get from that? Let's say you've been doing L1s for such a long time.
Yeah.
How do you start getting to the 2s and 3s? Or you just do it? That's what we do as entrepreneurs.
No, it's a great question. And it's one of the things that I've noticed that with even in a meeting or a conversation with one of my team members, if I'm dominating the conversation from not even a give and take, and I'm just not getting feedback, because I sniff that out. I don't know, it's part of my personality. I'm a high I from the DISC standpoint, and I love communicating and talking, and there's a give and take. And then usually, like you just said, giving feedback and, giving an opinion or giving them the freedom to, hey, what do you think? The more habits that they can build with that, the more they bring, they bring great ideas. So that's where I think that comes with my management style, is always looking for feedback and looking for, hey, what do you think? And so if I can start at level 3 with even the junior, just so that they get in the habit of, hey, I'm not just going to, do as he says. I'm going to also try to understand what else is the result in this, and they become part of the process. And that also becomes buy-in, to, this might be something that turns into a part of their role. And if they were able to give some options and understand more of it, they buy in because they were part of that process, as opposed to just doing what I say,
Yeah. No, that, I mean, what a great idea to almost default to L3 or higher,
Right.
so that everyone knows there's an expectation from you to come with ideas. And I think as you were saying that, it's like that's so huge. We just have to be careful that we don't assassinate our team members' ideas, L3, and like, well, here's this, and junior person, maybe it's a terrible idea, but like
Right.
maybe we use that, to your point, as like a teaching moment, saying, interesting, actually, blah blah blah, so that they get some feedback on their ideas. They're not
Absolutely.
just shot down. Otherwise it makes it very hazardous to put forward any kind of ideas on L3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually notice my energy level when I'm having to do all of the thinking. And in a conversation, sometimes, those conversations where you feel like you're dragging somebody into it and just do it as I say. So I think even starting at level 3, it becomes, like I said, it's energy giving for me to have that conversation with somebody. It feels as though they're part of the process. And so that's one of the things that's key for my personality, as well as management style and success of trying to develop your team.
100%. I had a recent example. I wonder if you've got one of them kind of in there. That we over here, we listen to podcasts because we produce them too, and we create them. And I was with the team, and we often give feedback to our hosts. And in the past, it was like me just saying crazy things like, "Oh, you know what I just heard is this. You know what I just heard is this." But now our producers are so experienced that they're saying, "Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And you're right. The energy's totally better.
Oh
Way
yeah.
better. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. You're right that they hosted that. They shouldn't have done that. Like, you want to
Absolutely.
avoid triple asking, a question 3 different ways. You want to avoid that. Someone did one of those on the recordings and they caught it. And I was like, this is exciting. And you're right. As an entrepreneur, you kind of come alive then thinking, oh, now we're cooking. Now we can take this to even the next level after that.
Absolutely. And this is great because even the podcast we have here, I see you taking notes, and I see because you're learning.
100%.
And that's exactly what we can do as leaders is to also come with a learning mentality. And if you give your team the ability to teach, you're going to learn more. You're going to come up with better ideas. So I think that's phenomenal. Like you said, you sound like, even with your team, you guys are in a learning mentality with each other. And when you get something new, it sounds like you're just like me. You're like, whoa, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Even when it's like a painful one, like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that hurt a little bit, but
It hurt.
I'm
And the
glad I
only
heard
way
it,
we can, not jump off a bridge is, no, let's learn from this one. All right.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to adopt things. I'm definitely going to adopt these. I'm going to create a little Notion doc afterward and get the team kind of in the loop on this, and just start using them here and there, and even let them ask me, hey, was this what kind of L is this for this?
Oh,
This
love
one,
it.
that would be
Love
great.
it.
Oh, by all means, let's make this a 4, shall
Nice.
we?
Yeah, exactly. Love it.
Yeah, totally cool. Hey, you mentioned DISC. How long have you been
Yes.
working with DISC? Maybe you want to explain it to people who haven't done that before. I still see questions on like Facebook channels about what is
Yeah.
that?
So DISC for us is personality profiling, understanding folks' motivations and learning styles, and it's key to us to have a communication. So DISC, DISC, and I always break it down based on how these folks see the world. The D's are the folks that are dominating and leaders, and I usually say how they see the world is, hey, if I'm the biggest, baddest dog on the block, I'll be okay. So that's what the D's see. The I's are the, hey, if everybody likes me, I'm going to be okay. So the I's are, inspiring and looking to, obviously be likable. So those are the I's, and they see the world that way. And then the S's are the, they serve and they care, and they're like, hey, if I do my job and keep my head down, I'll be okay. So those are the S's and how they see the world. And then the C's are, if I follow all the rules to a T, I'll be okay. So those are the D's, the I's, the S, the C's, how they see the world. And honestly, that's just a communication side. It gets broken down a lot more than I just put it, but I like to bring it up simply there because it's also a
I like
sales.
that. I haven't heard it that way.
Yeah,
Really
it's how they see the world. And it's also a sales thing too, because you could walk in having a conversation with a high D and try to give a lot of details, and you realize that you're losing them. So the D's just want to get to the bottom line.
Let's go.
And let's go, So those are things that are really key. And, my team, we do IT support, and we work with, all levels of management. And I try to teach my team about this is like, if you're working with the CFO who wants a lot of detail, they want to know how long did it take? How much is that going to cost? What, and then the high D is just, yeah, why are you here? Okay. Go move that computer over there. Thank you. I'll see you later. And that's, really key from a communication standpoint, so that you're, understanding how to approach the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, and I guess the other thing too, is that you're a mixture of these things too, right? So your score may tell you you're a high this, so that's kind of your primary window pane of the world, but then you also have little mixtures of these other things too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my natural style is high I, but I've learned in my journey as an entrepreneur that I have to, use that D on occasion, and just be, okay, I just need the big picture, and let's make a decision. And then there's times where I have to, looking at spreadsheets and things like that, which is instant melatonin for me, is looking at,
yeah.
Oh,
Right.
really? Another spreadsheet? I have to be a high C, looking at detail and understanding, trends and all those things like that. So you do need to adapt based on your roles, but from a natural standpoint, I'm definitely a high I, and very, very talkative, very, engaging, and like to be social.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to know about
same
that.
here. Same here.
Yeah.
Hey, eyes of the world unite. And to be clear, I like you, so everything's okay.
Awesome.
This is going great.
Thank you.
We're good. The day.
Thank you. It's a good
Day's a
day.
success, honestly.
It's a
For an
good
eye,
day.
we're like, did a million things. Don't quite remember the spreadsheet, but we made some friends and we're good.
Exactly. Casey put me over the moon.
Over the moon,
you.
man.
I like you. Man.
No, it can be hard though, trying to jump into some of those other zones, right? Because you're like, I need to be decisive here. I need to be like, oh, this is what it is. But I'm like, oh, do they not like me now? Oh no.
I know.
What happens?
It's a drain of energy. And it's good to know. Man. It's good to know that about yourself, so that you know when you're headed down that, that path.
Yeah, and different people communicate different ways, and this can change, I've found too, depending on who you're around. Like I know that when I've hired like a strong COO, the sort of dominance for me, I'm able to not have to have it be so high, because I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go over here in visionary, and then this person will just go around kicking butt.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, when that person's not here, it's like, well, somebody's got to be kicking some ass around here. Let me go do that. And
absolutely,
it can kind of change and ebb and flow around you. But DISC is cool. Have you done any of the other ones? Do you like DISC the best versus some of the other stuff?
I like DISC the best. I think I've been the most engaged with it for the past probably 6-7 years of doing that. I know there's many more. I just like the simple concept of DISC, and we've been doing that. But there definitely are others that are very detailed.
I know, right? You DISC everybody?
We do. We DISC all of our team. We actually share it with everybody. So
that's smart, right?
Yeah.
It's not like some dirty secret. It's like, no, hey, this is who we are, man.
It's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good to know how people communicate, because I actually had it was very interesting, is that I had another one that I did and had to do with patterns and being able to do patterns, and how I could like actually see patterns. And me, I'm a process person. I can draw up on the board. And so when I see the patterns and I can able to actually figure things out, I was like off the charts. I was like a 10 out of 10. And, you can see it. And the consultant I was working with said to me, even though that's a strength, that's a challenge for you when you're having conversations with people, because you think it's simple. You're like, you don't see that? And people are looking at, what are you talking about? And that's when you get to realize that you might be off the charts, but that means that you need to talk to the average, not to what you see, So I learned a hard lesson on that as well.
Yeah, you know what? I've definitely seen that happen with your strengths, right? And sometimes when people are trying to discover what their strengths are, they're like, I don't know, what is it, man? And then you ask other people and they'll tell you. But
Right.
then you'll hear things like, patterns, let's say you heard patterns. Man, can't everyone do that? Like, no. So you tend to take your strengths for granted because you've just been around them all the time. And
Yes.
you're right. You got to be careful. You don't just take for granted that everyone can do that. And we do that, right? We kind of like, we diss our own strengths by saying, oh, I'm sure everyone can do that.
Right.
Meanwhile, we highlight our weaknesses. Oh man, I'm really bad at that. But meanwhile,
Exactly.
that strength, you just sort of, no, not everyone has that. That is
Right.
something unique to you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
amazing, man. Do you have any books you've been reading lately? Any kind of cool knowledge?
Yeah. So one of the, like I said, that book that I've been reading, the one I was just talking about,
Oh yeah, with the
the
levels. Oh yeah.
replaceable founder. I was just actually having a conversation with another startup entrepreneur, and I was giving him a couple of books to consider. And since he was starting out, the book Go Giver, it talks about how you can actually become valuable to other folks by giving, and asking, how can I help? And having those conversations where when you give, people automatically have that reciprocity. They want to give back. And I was like, it's so key when you're networking and talking with people. Go Giver, I thought was a great.
Man, I'm gonna check that one out. That sounds really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the ones that I talked. And the other one was Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. One of the things as being we talked about this before, was I was a basketball coach, and I was coaching the girls on a high school basketball team. And what the concept of infinite game is that basketball game is finite. It has a start and a finish. So we get into the game, the game starts, it finishes, and we win the game. Yay, we high five, but it's finite. And so I said, for me as a coach, I'm here for the infinite game of your life. And I want to teach life lessons of, what do we learn from that game, even though we came out victorious, but we want to learn from it so that I can apply those things to, hopefully help you apply that to your character, to what you give back to your community, those type of things that are for a lifetime, not just the finite of that game. So Infinite Game, that's Simon Sinek, is also a conversation of what kind of business are we trying to build. Are we trying to build a business that's going to, last longer than you being there, or are you just creating a job? So there's ways of thinking of that. So I thought that book was, really key to
That's really
changing
good.
your mindset.
Yeah, no, that's really good, man. Absolutely. You got some good ones.
Hey, I try.
I'm gonna come steal your books. These are all
absolutely. So
how many more while you're out there? I don't want to leave you hanging. Are those good?
No,
I mean,
that was good.
okay.
I got plenty, but
I'm probably
I
not
don't want
ready
to
for
overwhelm
any
you.
more.
I don't want to overwhelm you.
True. Next time you come on here, I have to have you come back and then give us the next year. Like, okay, we read the books you mentioned.
Yes.
Now we're ready for the next step. Yeah.
Let's go.
So cool, man. Well, what about the future? Is there anything coming around the corner that you're excited to see? Any kind of changes happening in the market or, in society?
Yeah, definitely. For ClearTech Group in particular, a lot of things that we've been doing, we support, businesses from a IT solutions process and things like that. And some of the things that we're super excited. I mean, it's here to stay. For sure. It was hybrid working, where people can work from anywhere. And that's been so key, especially the last couple of years. It wasn't necessarily, a new concept, but it became critical to so many businesses to survive. But now they're at a point where, as an employer, if you're not even offering it, some people don't even apply, because you don't have that flexibility with what, working from home or
Right.
having flexibility to work from anywhere. And that's been, like I said, it's here to stay. And if you're not thinking about investing in it and or setting up a way for your employees to be productive from anywhere, then I think it's going to hurt a lot of businesses that don't buy into the fact that this is not a trend. So working from home, and it's actually it's really cool that people are asking those questions about, hey, if I'm at home and I need to answer the phone, or if I'm at home and I want to be able to work on this document, how can I do it from home? And I was like, well, it's not just home. I just want to be able to set you guys up. Can you do it from your phone? Can you do it from? So that's very exciting to be able to help businesses navigate that. So I'm pretty excited about the opportunities for that.
Yeah, I mean, it is here to stay. There's some benefit from in person and also the virtual, and you got to be able to handle it. Got to be able to, especially from the technical side. I mean, there's just so many considerations that, just idea of someone going to ship the laptop out and someone going to get it back, and are you going to wipe it? It's just, and then how you connecting? Is it your account? Whose Apple ID do you connect it to? Like, there's just so many questions. I know right now I'm going through the idea of shifting domains. So I'm moving from one domain to another, and the idea of email, moving from email, it's still relatively new, so it's not too much embedded stuff. Man, there's some things to think through. I mean, you really need someone you can trust, and who's got your back, who's thinking about the high C stuff. You have that team who goes, okay, we got a checklist. We're gonna make sure you're not gonna miss anything.
Absolutely, it's so key. I mean, I'm actually so excited that here we are doing a podcast on Zoom. You send me a link, I click in, and then we record it. And I was like, look how cool that is.
I know, right? It's kind of surreal. I mean, I almost take it for granted at this point, but I'm glad you brought that up, because then it'll be watched by millions and millions of people. Once we put it live on all the different channels, and then what's really weird is when you're driving home. I don't know if you use Spotify or whatever app. But you pull up the pot, you'll see like your name, and you'll hear us talking, and it's really kind of crazy. My daughter this morning was playing the intro to this podcast to me. She's like, hey, Dad, like this. I'm like, hey, I like that tune. That's
awesome.
It's so wild.
That is so awesome. Yeah, right on the phone too. That's even cooler.
Right on the phone.
You're right in the pocket.
We don't have to worry about all the data sizes like we used to in the old days with the tiny little discs or the big discs and all those things, huh? It's crazy.
It's amazing. But there's positives and then there's challenges with it. But I mean, I think for the most part, it's just like being able to, I'm in my house, and able to, to just do a podcast right from my house. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. As long as you can keep your kids off social media, everything's groovy, right?
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I know. Right?
I got 3 boys all over the ages of 20, twins that are 21. And the social media side of that was bringing them up and things like that. I just was like, how can I not necessarily keep them from doing it, but at least be a guide through it all? Because if you try to keep them from it, they'll find a way.
Yeah, and then you made it more interesting.
Oh, exactly.
You made it, it's taboo point. Now I really want to try to do it.
Dad doesn't want. Why does he want?
Yeah. Same thing with like alcohol. See, at least with us, hey, you want a beer? Like, no, Dad, that's gross. Like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. It's not a thing. It's not a thing at all. Nothing interesting about it. Wine, that's like gross grape juice that no one wants to drink. Okay.
Exactly.
Right. Totally. There's no magic here. There's nothing taboo over here. You'll be fine. The anti-taboo, right? But as soon as we tell them, no, you can't do that,
Oh yeah.
Purple hair or whatever it is. Like, no,
instant motivation. Oh yeah.
Nice hair.
Yeah.
What? You mean you're not shocked and appalled? No, nope.
I got one of my boys, and I hope he sees this. Is that he's got the man bun thing.
Oh, hey.
Whew. As a military veteran,
I know, right?
It's tough to see, but hey, it's his thing. So I let it
You got to
roll.
tell him, maybe he's listening. You got to tell him it's super cool. You got to tell
Oh,
him he's got to make it twice as big, right?
now you're
Yeah.
thinking. All
Yeah.
right.
You know what?
Yes,
My
yes, it
dad actually
is.
told me, he's like, why don't you grow your hair out like MacGyver? And I like MacGyver, but I don't want to grow my hair out as long. So I'm like, actually, no. He's like, no, no, no. Grow it really long. Maybe that was his reverse psychology. I should ask him about this.
There you
But
go.
I've never, I've always been kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna go get it. Like maybe even today, I'm gonna go get it.
Brilliant.
Like
Love it.
down to the into like, well, what do you want it to be, a 1 or 2? I'm like, no, 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 0. In fact, can you go lower than a 0? Yeah, let's go bald and clippers on this one. Let's go deep,
Go deep. Exactly.
all
Actually, now
because
that
he
I,
said that long hair is cool.
yeah, I know I instantly like lose about 10 years when I get my haircut,
Yeah.
shave off all the grays and I get down close and
Yeah,
I
you're
look
looking
younger.
sharp, man. I don't see any grays at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what you should do though? You should grow out a man bun and
That
and then tell your
okay.
son you want to do TikToks together, and then watch how quickly he shaves it off and joins the Air Force, right?
You are brilliant. You are brilliant. I might even think about that. I actually could probably pull it off, but
You can totally pull it off.
I got the afro thing that goes up, so I don't have to
Oh
get
man,
some.
pull that
Yeah.
thing off, and then the pics.
Oh
The
yeah,
social experiments, and when
back in the
parents get on
day.
social media with their kids,
Yeah, yeah.
love it, love it. But hey, it's super cool. I wanted
Yeah.
to transition. Actually, who are you? I want to tell me about you. What was it like growing up? Did you know you're going to be a businessman, crushing things, entrepreneur, IT wizard, all these things back in the day? Take me like back in time. What was it like growing up? You?
Absolutely. So this is great. So I didn't entrepreneurship wasn't necessarily my goal. I did have my father did actually run a small business for a while that I actually got to be a part of for a couple of years, computer services, things like that. And what I did at the time though was I also realized it's early 20s. I was going to college and my high I was very high and I was very social and did not do so well in college because I was more focused on where the next party was as opposed to where the next class was.
Right.
So I was able to finish up an associate's degree. I went from the 4-year college to finish up an associate's degree, and at the age of 22, I decided, hey, it's time to get a little discipline, and I enlisted in the Air Force.
Nice.
I did that by getting a guaranteed job as a computer operator and was able to take that experience. I supported weather satellites in Spokane, Washington, and then also worked in a mobile unit where we set up mobile networks because when engagements or things happen overseas or things like the first thing that we basically want to do is set up a communication. So we were part of that team. And when in 1998 is when I got out, married, had my son with me. I think he was 6, younger. We basically came back to Massachusetts, and I got my first job supporting a manufacturing company from an IT standpoint. Then I moved on to project management, and then I was working for a managed service provider, Thrive Networks, which a lot of people in the EO space have graduated from too, Thrive Networks, that really taught me a lot about IT supporting clients, customer service, seeking and supporting businesses. Well, one thing that gave me the entrepreneurial, what do they call it? The entrepreneurial seizure, or the all of a sudden I want to make the leap to be an entrepreneur, was the big dig back in the early 2000s. And I was a father of a little leaguer that was playing a baseball game in central Massachusetts in Leominster. And I'm in the financial district in Boston overseeing, the Mass Pike, and realizing I am not going to get home in anything less than 2 hours. So I will not make that game.
Yeah.
So that became a decision point of, I need to take a little bit more control of, what's going on. And I started noticing, I was like, I was very engaging with clients and being able to, have a conversation with them and things like that. And it became a natural fit for starting a franchise. And the franchise that I was able to start was Computer Troubleshooters in 2004. And then I became, like I said, an entrepreneur. But one of the things about the franchise is I was an engineer. And the franchise gave me a business model.
Right.
So that's I call it the entrepreneur with some training wheels.
I like that.
I rode those training wheels for 13 years, built up a nice network in my community and supporting customers, raised a small, my family grew. Actually, my twins were born in 2000. And so they were young as well. So we had, a lot of challenges early. Obviously, it's you're trying to raise a young family, but you're also able to make a lifestyle out of it. And I was able to work, build a business, but also make those games and be a coach.
Yes,
and
make the
be there
games.
with the kids, and it was amazing. For 13 years, and then right around my twins, turning 17, now driving, less wanting to hang out with dad and more with girls and stuff like that. So then it became very apparent that that I had more time, ability to leave the franchise and spin off into our own independent business. And so ClearTech Group was born in 2017, end of 2017. I left the franchise and became a non-franchise, took off the training wheels.
Yeah.
And, started to build the business based on what my team and I were seeing as the best way to build a business, as opposed to have a business model. And then, from here, we've been working towards, 4 years of rebranding and working towards, lining up our clients and, joined the EO to help with a lot of entrepreneurial organization. And the accelerator program in particular has been huge for me, working with like-minded entrepreneurs and getting accountability, because, being that an entrepreneur can sometimes be a lonely, deal,
Yeah.
but you can work with a group of people, like I said, that are like-minded and can help with sharing experiences and, helping with, just getting it out of my head. 9 times out of 10, I know what the right answer is. I just need to get it out and process it. And when you have people that are, having and sharing experiences as well as confirming, yeah, I've been there. And this is what happened. And then you go, oh, okay, that feels more confident that, you're going in the right direction, as well as, you share your experience. So it's been huge.
Man. Yeah, to be able to make those games though,
Yeah.
I think we're priceless, right? When it comes down
Yes.
to it. I mean, you can't, that those are finite, right? To your point.
Yes.
And you got to make those, and you make those games because that plays into the infinite game of that relationship with your kids.
Absolutely. And it's been so amazing, because I'm one of those people that I could be in the stand and if you're seeing, those games and those days, the kids playing the game different ways and like that, I don't allow myself to complain unless I contribute. So that ended up 9 times out of 10, I ended up on the field, the court, and helping in any way. And then all of a sudden I started to make really good lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Youth sports is amazing, for, building a community, networking with people too. And also, it's kind of strange. It's like, now that my boys are all older and things like that, I have weekends where I'm like, what are we going to do? So I say to my wife, I was like, remember when we used to like, do AAU games and the whole weekend would be sports, So now it's a different style, but it's awesome. I'm looking forward to that next phase. And
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially because you put in the time that first phase. And you're not at this phase going, oh man, we could have filled it with, you did fill it with that. And
Yeah.
that's powerful. Hypothetical question for you.
Okay. What you got?
I may or may not have a time machine up here in New Hampshire, right?
Okay.
It's actually in the backyard covered in a tarp. But
Yes.
let's say you come visit, we get some beers, we go hang out at the time machine, and you get a chance to use it. It's particular kind. It goes back in time, and you get to meet yourself, early 20s. You get to meet yourself, let's say right before the Air Force, the associates is happening. That kind of, you get to meet that version of you, that Tony. You can talk to yourself. You can give yourself tips, advice, strategies, and it won't mess up your time space continuum. You'll be okay. What do you tell yourself?
So, interestingly enough, I think one of the main things is having a mentor or reaching out to folks that have either been where you'd like to go, and having a coffee or just sitting down and talking more with those people that have been there, and ask probing questions, and and look for, like I said, what's their experience, and if you can get one or two of those people that even, number one, just somebody that you admire or you have seen be successful in any area, then sit down with somebody who's in an area that you'd like to explore. So finding mentors, coaches, people that you can reach out to give you some guidance and give you some experience, and don't be shy, because I think everyone, like, if now, matter of fact, I had an intern 4 or 5 years ago, and he hit me up on LinkedIn. I just got off a call with him about 2 hours ago.
Wow.
And yeah, he asked me some questions, and I gave him some of my experience, and was just totally excited to do that. And getting off the call, I was just super excited, because somebody asked me for help, and asked me about my experience, and I love to share. I think that is more the majority of what people want to do, is they want to help. And when you ask for it, and ask for somebody that is in a role that you either are interested in, like I said, take them to coffee, take them to dinner, and just ask questions, and don't be shy about it, because you're not going to get any answer if you don't at least ask. So that's what I would tell myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, so good.
Yeah.
Hey, where can people connect with you if they want to reach out? Either for you need some IT help, because you need someone you can trust. And believe me, people, you need someone you can trust on that side, or you're going to get wrangled by hackers, and it's just going to be a rough day. So you need someone you can trust. So they want to reach out for that, or even just professionally to connect. Where should they go?
Well, definitely LinkedIn. Tony Fields, Clear Tech Group out of Leominster, Massachusetts, as well as our website, cleartechgroup.com. They can just reach out and put in a request. I love to have virtual coffees. That's the other thing that Zoom has been really helpful with, is that, hey, 30 minutes, I just have a conversation, whether it's, IT, mentorship, conversations about, the things we talked about today, how do you delegate, and all those things. I'd love to have those conversations with folks, because the more you talk about it and you teach, the more you know. So
yeah,
I think that's
nothing like teaching, right?
Exactly. Sinks right in.
Yeah, really nothing like it. Man, so good.
So
Dude,
good.
thank you so much for coming on here and just sharing all of these lessons and all of these insights that you've got.
Yeah, my pleasure, Casey. And I appreciate the reach out, and I'm excited to do this again if it comes up.
Absolutely.
So,
have you come back on, do some updates, and we'll just
Love
geek
it.
out on some mentorship, maybe even how to do some mentorship and how to maybe how to do some basketball, how to be good at defense, maybe.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm all for that, definitely.
So good, man. And for those people listening, if you learned something, and I freaking know you did, because I literally have 2 pages of notes front and back over here,
Nice.
then share this with someone else. That's how you're a thought leader to 1 person, 2 people, 480 people, whatever the number is. That's how you can help other people out, by just sharing a nugget you learned, like the levels. Hey, are you going to level 1, level 2? Hey, try a level 3 delegation today, tomorrow. Just see what happens.
Absolutely.
Explain it and shoot it off, and
Nice.
see what happens. And again, thanks again, man, for being on here.
All right, Casey. Thank you, man.
All right, everyone. This has been another exciting episode of Leadership in Action. We will see you all next time. Leadership in Action is sponsored by the Boston chapter of the Entrepreneurs Organization. As the world's only peer-to-peer network exclusively for entrepreneurs, EO helps transform the lives of those who transform the world.